You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin.
I was brushing my teeth when her phone lit up. I wasn't snooping. It was just sitting there on the bathroom counter, buzzing like it had something urgent to say. I glanced down and that's when I saw it. Room 314. Same as last time. Can't wait to see you again. Ezekiel. I stopped mid-brush, foam still in my mouth. My stomach flipped. I knew that name. Pastor Ezekiel Gaines, the same man who married us, who baptized our daughter, who gets flown around the country to speak about purity and family values. That Ezekiel. Quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I stared at the message until the screen dimmed. Then I spit, rinsed, and dried my hands like nothing had happened. My name's Jonathan Mitchell. I'm 41. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I've worked in insurance for almost 20 years. Married to Rachel for 16 of those. Until that moment, I thought I was one of the lucky ones. I walked out of the bathroom calm as hell. Sat down on the bed next to her. She was flipping through a women's devotional, pretending to read. I kissed her on the cheek and said, "What's the plan tomorrow?" She smiled and said she had a late meeting, women's outreach planning. Said it might run late. Sure it might. I played dumb, nodded, kissed her again. Inside, my chest was on fire, but I kept my voice steady. I knew I had one shot at this. If I exploded, she'd cover her tracks. If I played it cool, I could see where the road really went. So I let it play out. That night, I followed her. I told her I had to work late, that I'd be at the regional office. She barely blinked. She dressed like she was going to Bible study. Cardigan, sensible shoes, hair pulled back. That fake sweet Christian wife look. She drove her car, the white Honda I bought her last year, straight to the Abundant Life Tabernacle Retreat Lodge. Not the main campus. The off-site one they use for spiritual renewal weekends. I parked across the street, lights off, waited. She got out, looked around, then walked to the side entrance like she'd done it 100 times. A minute later, he showed up. Ezekiel. Black Mercedes. Sunglasses on. Like some damn movie villain. They didn't talk. He just nodded, and she followed him inside. They went into room 314. I sat there another 20 minutes, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping me upright. Then I drove home. Didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just stared out the windshield with a voice in my head saying, "Don't let her know you know. Not yet." And the minute I walked in the door, I called a name I hadn't said in years. "Denny, you still working?" "Still working?" I asked. "Depends who's asking," Denny said. "It's Jonathan Mitchell." A pause. "Huh. Haven't heard that name in a minute. I've got a situation. It's personal, not insurance." "You got a burner phone?" That was Denny Crawl. Direct as hell. Ex-FBI, built like a tree trunk with the attitude to match. I once helped him recover $500,000 on a crooked life policy. He owed me one. Next morning, we met in the back of a strip mall parking lot. He had his dog with him, big German Shepherd, louder than the engine of his truck. "Tell me everything," he said, climbing into my passenger seat. I kept it simple. "My wife, Rachel. I think she's screwing our pastor." His eyebrows went up, but he didn't flinch. "You got proof." "Not enough. That's where you come in." He nodded. "Give me 2 weeks. Day 1, Denny planted a tracker on her car, bugged her phone line, set up a camera at the back exit of the retreat center. He worked fast, quiet, no digital trails. Every few days, he'd text me updates from a burner number. I started sleeping in the guest room, claimed I had work projects that needed quiet. Rachel just smiled, brought me coffee like she always did, asked if I wanted her to pray for me. I wanted to shove the mug off the table and scream in her face, but I didn't. Instead, I listened to her talk about Pastor Ezekiel's vision for family restoration, while Denny sent me audio clips of them laughing in the damn lodge hallway. Her voice, soft and breathy, saying, "I wish we could just stay here forever." I'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, grinding my teeth. I'd watch her climb into bed like nothing was wrong, read her devotional, kissed the cross necklace she wore like it meant something. One afternoon, Denny dropped a thick envelope at my office. Full-color photos, time-stamped, clear as day. Rachel in Ezekiel's car. Rachel coming out of room 314. Rachel kissing him in the back stairwell. Then the phone logs. Dozens of calls labeled private number. Always late at night. Always ending before 10 minutes. I started taking walks around the block just to breathe. I'd catch myself clenching my fists without even realizing it. Sometimes, I'd stare at her across the dinner table and wonder how long she'd been faking it. 2 weeks in, Denny texted, "Got something else. You're gonna want to see this." We met at a gas station off the highway. He handed me a folded-up receipt. "He bought her this 2 days ago," Denny said. "Christian boutique. Real gold. Not cheap." I opened it. One item. Blessed and chosen gold pendant necklace. $1,180. I stared at it for a full minute. "She said it was from her sister," I muttered. "Said she mailed it from Denver." Denny just looked at me. "You still want more?" I stuffed the receipt in my jacket. "Yeah, keep going." Rachel wore the necklace that night. Right there at the kitchen counter, sipping tea, watching her favorite show about biblical motherhood. She caught me looking at it and smiled. "Looks good, right?" Sarah sent it. Total surprise. I nodded. "Maybe we should visit her this fall," she added. I didn't blink. Just said, "Sure." Then I grabbed my jacket, stepped outside, and sat in my truck until my hands stopped shaking. My wife was lying to my face. Ezekiel was buying her off. And both of them still had the nerve to use God's name while doing it. I stayed in the truck that night until my fingertips stopped twitching. I don't know how long that was, but when I finally walked back inside, Rachel was humming in the kitchen, lighting a vanilla candle like we were living in some goddamn Hallmark movie. Next morning, Denny called. "You up?" he asked. "Barely. Get down to my office. I've got something." His office was a converted garage behind a pawn shop. Old desk, 2 laptops, a corkboard full of photos and sticky notes. I walked in and he didn't even say hi, just spun a monitor toward me. "What am I looking at?" I asked. "Bank transfers. Internal. Look close." It was a spreadsheet. Messy, like someone tried to make it confusing on purpose. But I knew money, and this was bad. Multiple withdrawals from Abundant Life Ministries General Fund routed through dummy charities, Hope Harvest Inc., New Streams Fellowship, City Spring Development Trust. I squinted. "These are shells." He nodded. I ran him through IRS records. No full-time staff, no office space, barely any filings. He's pushing ministry money through fake charities and bleeding it out. To where? Mostly real estate buys that tanked. And some personal cards. Spa weekends. Jewelry stores. Cash withdrawals flagged at casinos. My chest went tight. How long? 18 months minimum. Probably longer. Jesus Christ. "This isn't just a cheating scandal," Denny said. "This is federal-level fraud. If someone with a badge saw this, they'd kick in his door." I sat down hard. For the first time, it hit me. This wasn't just about my marriage. This man was robbing people. Good people. Widows who mailed in checks. Families that skipped bills to tithe. I spent the next 3 nights digging. Tax law, nonprofit fraud, misuse of public grant funds. I read it all. I learned what a 990 form was, how the IRS tracks abuse, what the whistleblower reward percentages looked like. I read court cases, watched testimony clips, looked up federal sentencing guidelines. And the more I read, the colder I got. I wasn't just angry anymore. I was focused. But I knew I couldn't bring this to the police. Not yet. Ezekiel had power, cameras, friends in every department. I needed someone inside. Someone with skin in the game. That's when I thought of her. Hope Gaines. His wife. She ran the women's ministries. Never spoke during services. Always dressed like a Sunday school poster. Pearls, pastels, not a hair out of place. People talked about her like she was porcelain. Soft. Fragile. Saintly. But I didn't buy that. I found out she volunteered at Harvest Word Christian Bookstore 3 days a week. Thursday morning, I drove over and waited outside. She was in the corner behind the counter, setting up a display of devotionals. Slim, neat, quiet. I walked in and picked up a journal near the register. She smiled when I approached. "Looking for anything special today?" she asked. "Actually, yes," I said. I reached into my coat and pulled out the envelope Denny had prepped. Photos, printouts, the receipt. "I think you'll want to see this." Her hand froze in mid-air. She looked around, then said, "Back room." We stepped behind a curtain near the stock shelves. She shut the door, flipped the lock, and took the envelope. She looked through each photo slowly. Her face didn't move. Not once. She got to the receipt and paused. "Necklace?" I asked. She nodded once. Said it was from her mother. Her voice was flat. No tears. Just a long, steady inhale. "How long have you suspected?" I asked. "I didn't," she said quietly. "But I stopped trusting his explanations a while ago." I took a step closer. "It's not just cheating. He's stealing from the church. From people who trust him. I can prove it." She didn't answer at first. She just held the pictures in both hands and stared at the floor. Then she looked up. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you're the only one close enough to bring him down." She met my eyes, and in that second I saw it not weakness, not fear. Rage. She slipped the envelope into her purse, unlocked the door, and walked out like she'd just stocked the shelves. I followed a minute later. Hope Gaines wasn't fragile. She was just waiting for the right moment. We didn't speak again for 3 days. Then Hope texted, "Meet me. Corner booth at Liberty Diner. 8 a.m. She was already there when I walked in. Black coffee in front of her, no makeup, hair pulled back tight like she was trying to disappear. But her eyes were clear. She slid the envelope across the table. "I didn't sleep the first night," she said. "Second night I prayed. Third night I started packing a bag." "You leaving him?" "Not yet," she said. "If I walk now, he'll lock everything down. Bank accounts, keys, my access to the church network. I want to hurt him first." That surprised me. Not what she said, how steady her voice was. Hope Gaines had snapped. Quietly, cleanly. We met again that Friday at a park near Woodward. She brought her Bible, probably to blend in, but inside it was a USB drive. "Every teleprompter script for the next month," she said. "He keeps them in Dropbox. I have admin access." I nodded. "Fundraiser's coming up, right? Heart for the Nations. Second Sunday next month. 2-hour live broadcast. Viewers in all 50 states. What's the setup?" "Live studio." He opens with prayer, then scripture, then a message about giving. Big emotional push at the end. We always raise over $1 million. Who controls the broadcast feed? Station tech crew. But the director's nephew is in the church. He'll do whatever Ezekiel tells him. Then we go above him, I said. "I've got a guy. Denny. He can run a clean swap. 1 minute they're watching Ezekiel, next minute they're watching the truth." She looked out at the soccer field. Kids yelling, parents cheering. She wiped something from her eye. Maybe a tear, maybe dust. "He always said God blessed us," she said quietly. "That everything we had was proof we were chosen." I pulled out the newest report Denny had dug up. More shell donations, phantom staff names, money bouncing from one fake org to another. I slid it over to her. She opened it slowly, page after page. After a while, she stopped reading. "That's why he started those extra charities," she said. "Said he was building new missions. He was building a buffer. In case one collapsed, the next could hide it." She shook her head. "He told the board it was kingdom expansion. He told Rachel he loved her." Her jaw tightened. That was the first time I saw the anger crack through her calm. She didn't speak for a while. Then she looked at me and said, "I'll get you access to the production booth schedule and the voiceover script. He adds personal testimony before the last donation push. We can swap that part. Show the affair, the receipts, everything." "What about you?" I asked. "Are you ready for the fallout?" She closed the folder and tucked it under her coat. "He took everything from me, Jonathan. My family, my friends. He's had me on an allowance for 12 years. He screens my emails. I haven't had a single private bank account since 2010. You sure you can do this?" She gave me a look that shut me up cold. "Don't mistake quiet for weak," she said. "I've been surviving him in silence for too long. It's time he feels what that's like." We left the park 10 minutes apart. That night, she sent me a photo of the broadcast schedule. Heart for the Nations, 8 p.m. Start. Studio 3. Live taping. We had less than a month to burn him down. I stared at the photo Hope had texted me. Studio 3, 8 p.m. Live taping, and felt it settle into place like the final bolt in a trapdoor. We were ready. Next morning, I called Denny from the truck. "You ever dealt with the IRS?" I asked. "Yeah," he said. "Once. Got a guy in Tulsa who used to work field audits. Name's Warner. Quiet. Careful. You want him?" "Yeah." Anonymous tip. Real slow burn. Don't want this thing getting pulled too early. "I'll set it up." I hung up and printed 3 backup packets of everything. Photos, wire transfers, Shell Corp breakdowns, the works. One set went in a locked desk drawer at my office. One in a fireproof box at my mom's place. The last I hand-delivered to Denny. By the end of that week, I'd also mailed a flash drive to Rebecca Siles at the Tulsa Tribune. No name, no return address. Just a note that said, "You're looking the wrong way. Start with Hope Harvest, then follow the money." Hope and I kept meeting in diners and parking lots like we were planning a bank robbery. We had code names for files, burner phones we'd switch every few days, and exact timestamps for the video swap. Denny's tech guy, some ex-station editor who owed him a favor, was locked and ready. The night of the event, he'd be in the booth, queued up with our clip. Ezekiel and Rachel at the lodge, the private messages, and the financials right after. "Hit them in the heart, then hit them in the wallet," Denny said. It was all coming together, until the day Rachel showed up. Hope and I were sitting in a roadside diner off Route 75. Quiet place, red booths, sticky tables. We had her laptop out, going over the voiceover script Ezekiel planned to use during the sacrificial giving section. Hope was pointing out where we could cut in the footage. Then I saw the shadow hit our table. Rachel, standing 3 feet away, sunglasses off, holding a takeout bag. She looked at me, then at Hope. Her lips parted, but she didn't say anything at first. "You mentoring now?" she asked, voice flat. Hope didn't move. She just stared down at the table. "Yeah," I said, calm as ever. "Her nephew's struggling. Drugs, some trouble at school." She asked if I'd talk with him. Rachel blinked. "Since when do you do mentoring?" "Since about 2 weeks ago." She didn't buy it. Not for a second. But she didn't press it either. "Guess I'll see you at home," she said. She turned and walked out without waiting for me to respond. Hope exhaled, long and quiet. "You sure that'll hold her off?" she asked. "No," I said. "But it doesn't matter. We're too far in now." That night, Rachel was waiting at the dining table with her arms crossed. "I saw you with her." I tossed my keys in the bowl like nothing happened. "Yep. Why the lies?" "I told you, her nephew. You think I'm cheating on you with a pastor's wife? That's what you're going with?" Her face twitched. That one landed. "I know what I saw. Then trust what I told you." She stood up slow, eyes locked on mine. But I didn't flinch. I walked right past her and started running the dishwasher. She went to the bedroom, slammed the door, and didn't speak to me the rest of the night. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. "Denny, you'll want to see this." He'd intercepted Rachel's messages to Ezekiel. "He saw us. I think he knows something. He was with Hope today. What the hell is going on?" 5 texts, all in a panic. All within 10 minutes of her walking out of that diner. I replied to Denny with one line. Let her squirm. Ezekiel hadn't canceled the fundraiser. Hadn't pulled the broadcast. That told me one thing. He still thought he was untouchable. 2 days after Rachel's frantic texts, Denny called me while I was shaving. "You're not gonna like this," he said. "I haven't liked anything for a month," I muttered. He pulled 60 grand in cash. 3 separate branches. Split over 5 days. No explanation. No board authorization. I set the razor down. "Where's it going?" "That's the fun part," Denny said. "He's got transfers hitting accounts in the Caymans, Belize, even one in Panama. All routed through the same shell names we traced before. Damage control." "Exactly. He's running scared." I hung up and leaned on the sink, letting the water run until it went hot. That was the first time I felt real heat from Ezekiel, not from his sermons or his charm, from his panic. That night, I took the long way home from the office. Got a weird feeling when I made the second left onto my street. The same black SUV was behind me the whole time. No lights, no movement to pass, just riding slow. I parked in my driveway. The SUV coasted by, paused at the stop sign for way too long, then kept going. No plates on the front. Tinted windows all around. I didn't go inside right away. I stood on the porch, arms crossed, watching the street until it was dark. Whoever that was, they wanted me to know they were watching. They'd seen me. Now I'd seen them. Next morning, my cell rang at 7:11 a.m. Blocked number. I answered, voice low. "Yeah, just a heads up," said a slow, nervous voice. "Some of us in the church are worried. You're stirring things that don't need to be stirred. Pastor Gaines is a man of God. You're walking a dangerous road, brother." Click. No name. No way to trace it. But it was clear. They were trying to rattle me. I texted Hope right after. "We need to meet. Now." We met in her car outside the library on 41st. She was already sitting there, hands tight on the steering wheel, staring straight ahead. "Someone followed me last night," I said. "Then I got a call this morning. Threat level subtle." Her voice cracked a little. "Do you think he knows everything?" "No, but he suspects we're close. He's lashing out." She didn't say anything for a long time, just kept both hands clamped on the wheel like it was the only thing holding her up. Then she looked over at me. "What if we're wrong? What if we air this out and it backfires? What if no one believes us?" "They will. You don't know that." I leaned in closer. "Hope, this isn't just about my marriage anymore. It's not just about what he did to you. We have video. We have records. We have the goddamn timeline laid out in folders." Her eyes dropped. "You can walk away," I said. "But I won't. This man's been stealing from widows and calling it obedience. Lying to his wife while preaching repentance. This isn't a grudge. It's justice." She blinked fast and wiped at her eyes. "We're not just doing this for us," I said. "This is bigger than us now." She nodded slowly. Then she reached into her purse and handed me the final studio access badge. "You'll need this to get into the booth." I slid it into my coat pocket. "We're almost there." Later that night, Rachel cornered me in the hallway after dinner. I was grabbing a suitcase from the closet. "What's that for?" she asked. "Out of town meeting," I said. "Muskogee. Regional Claims Conference." She tilted her head. "You never go to those. This one's different." I didn't give her more than that. Just walked past her to the garage and packed the bag with a change of clothes, laptop, and 2 backup drives. She didn't ask again. She just stood there, staring like she'd just realized I wasn't the one in the dark anymore. Studio 3 looked like something out of a late-night infomercial. Shiny floor, fake plants, a gold-trimmed pulpit dead center under 3 blinding lights. Rows of folding chairs faced the stage, packed with staff, church elders, and VIP donors flown in for the big night. Hope and I were behind soundproof glass in the control room above, standing next to Denny's guy, a short tech named Wallace with headphones and a jittery leg. Hope wore a gray blazer, Bible in hand. I had my badge on, jacket zipped up over it. Below us, Ezekiel stepped on stage to polite applause. Clean-shaven, hair slicked back, teeth like a toothpaste commercial. Rachel was in the front row, grinning up at him like a proud groupie. Same gold necklace around her neck. Same Bible in her lap she never read. Ezekiel raised both arms like Moses parting the sea. The camera zoomed in. "Brothers and sisters," he began. "Tonight is not about money, it's about faith. And if your faith leads you to give, you will receive blessings you can't even imagine." I watched him speak and felt nothing. Not hate, not grief, just a switch flipping in my head. Cold. Final. I looked at Wallace. "You ready?" I asked. He nodded, hands on the controls. Ezekiel kept going, voice rising. "Some of you watching from home have been battling demons. Poverty, addiction, fear. Tonight, I'm here to tell you, God sees your sacrifice. And when you give from a place of pain, your miracle is already on the way." Hope leaned toward the mic and said softly, "Now." Wallace clicked once. The live stream glitched for half a second. Then the screen behind Ezekiel, meant to be showing scenic mission trip footage, suddenly switched. Footage, lodge hallway. Ezekiel, sunglasses on, walking with his head down. Rachel, in a cardigan, following him into room 314. No talking, just silence and betrayal in full HD. The studio went dead quiet. Ezekiel turned, confused. "We're having technical," he started. Then the audio cut in. Rachel's voice. "I wish we could just stay here forever." Ezekiel, "Don't worry. God understands what this is." Rachel, "He doesn't have a clue." Ezekiel, "Good. Keep it that way." The audience gasped. Rachel's hands flew up to her face. Then came the spreadsheets. Wallace played them in sequence: wire transfers, receipts, fake charity names, Cayman Bank info, signatures. The numbers rolled down the screen while Ezekiel stood frozen. Hope stepped back from the mic, turned to me, and nodded. "I'm going down there." I grabbed her arm. "You sure?" "I need to look him in the eye." She left the booth and took the back stairs. Down below, people were already whispering, shifting in their seats. Ezekiel tried to speak again, but the teleprompter was black now, and nothing came out of his mouth. Then Hope walked onto the stage. No music, no intro, just heels on tile and the click of 1,000 phones recording. She stepped beside him, turned to the crowd and said, "My name is Hope Gaines. I am Ezekiel's wife." Murmurs. Phones raised higher. Even Rachel dropped her Bible. "My husband has lied to you, to me, to God." She paused. Then she pointed at the screen behind her. "Everything you see here is real. The money, the affairs, the fake charities, the abuse. It ends tonight." Gasped. One man shouted, "Is this a joke?" A woman screamed. Rachel stood up, face white as paint, and bolted for the exit. Hope stood still, arms at her sides, the camera tight on her face. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She just stood there like a statue and let the world fall apart. In the control room, Wallace clicked the final cue. Message flashed on screen. "Donations suspended pending investigation. All financial statements now public at abundanttruth.org." Donors froze. The website lit up in real time. Denny had launched it 30 seconds earlier. Then came the sirens. 2 black vans pulled up outside. 4 agents entered the studio with jackets marked IRS and FBI. Ezekiel tried to walk off stage. "Sir," an agent said, stepping forward, "we need to speak with you." I watched from above as he stopped cold, turned pale, and dropped his microphone. Hope didn't look at him. Not once. She stepped down from the stage and walked straight out the back. Wallace turned to me. "You good?" I nodded once. "Yeah, it's done." We walked out into the parking lot, where press vans were already pulling up, headlights flashing like fireworks. People were crying, arguing, praying. Some were yelling that it was the devil's work. Others were screaming that they'd known all along. I didn't say a word. I just got in my truck, drove to the top of Reservoir Hill, and watched the city lights flicker below. 2 days after the broadcast, Rachel packed a suitcase and left without saying a word. I came home from work, and the guest room closet was empty. Just a note on the counter that said, "I'll have my sister call you about the rest." I read it once and dropped it in the trash. She didn't ask for a fight. I didn't offer one. Her job with the Christian charity folded the next morning. Board voted her out unanimously. Donor confidence lost. No explanation given, but everyone knew. Her name disappeared from the website before lunch. Ezekiel didn't get off that easy. Federal charges came fast. Wire fraud, mail fraud, tax evasion, conspiracy to defraud a charitable organization. They booked him at 3:42 a.m. on a Monday, caught trying to board a flight out of Dallas. Bail denied. Hope sent me the booking photo with a single word: coward. We met later that week at a coffee shop off Yale Avenue. No more back booths, no disguises. She wore jeans and a plain t-shirt. Her wedding ring was gone. "You okay?" I asked. "3 more women emailed me," she said, sipping her drink. "Volunteers from the women's ministry. Said he'd cornered them over the years. All married, all scared." I didn't know what to say to that. I just nodded and let her talk. They said they thought it was their fault, that God would be angry if they told anyone. That's how he wanted it. She looked at me. But they told me, and now he's gone. We kept meeting. Grocery store runs, coffee, park benches, normal places. My lawyer filed the divorce papers that Friday. Rachel didn't contest. Not a single request for alimony, assets, or explanation. Just signed and walked away. Word spread fast through the church circles. Rachel stopped showing up to Sunday service. I started going to a different campus across town. Some people stared. A few muttered things under their breath. But no one asked questions. Not out loud. They already knew what happened. The whispers were enough. Hope went on local TV once. Just once. Clean blazer, soft tone, clear words. I believed in the man I married. That belief was misplaced. But my faith in God and in the people he hurt is stronger than ever. That was it. Nothing more. She never took another interview. I got calls from podcasts, journalists, even a documentary team. I told every one of them no. This wasn't a story I wanted sold. It was a wound I wanted healed. One afternoon, Denny called me just to say, "You did good." Most people freeze. "You moved." I didn't thank him. I just said, "You ever hear from the SUV guy?" "Nope. But I bet he's watching the news like everybody else." Hope and I met at a food truck lot that weekend. No plans. No secrets. Just 2 people sitting on a picnic bench eating tacos, watching kids run around in the grass. She looked over at me and said, "Do you ever feel like you're finally breathing again?" I nodded. "Yeah, I do." Hope leaned back on the picnic bench, wiping salsa off her hand with a napkin. I tossed our empty trays in the bin and sat beside her. We didn't say much after that. We didn't need to. 6 months later, we were still doing things that way, quiet, steady, no grand gestures. Just solid ground for the first time in a long damn while. Hope called her nonprofit Clear Path. Soft name, hard purpose. Support for women pulled into religious manipulation. Counseling, housing referrals, legal help. Every story that came in reminded her how deep this problem ran. Ezekiel wasn't rare, just exposed. She handled the programming. I handled the back-end grant apps, logistics, donor outreach. I cut my hours at the agency. Told my boss I needed time to work on something that mattered. He didn't argue. He'd seen the news. We worked out of her new place just north of Broken Arrow. 1-story rental, modest porch, chipped white trim. But it had a fenced yard and a kitchen that didn't smell like bleach. She kept a stack of donated devotionals on the counter and a whiteboard above her desk that said, "Start with the survivors. End with the truth." Most nights, we'd sit out front with iced tea or walk the trail near LaFortune Park. Talk about caseloads, system gaps, where to find better volunteers. I'd handle spreadsheets. She handled people. One night, after dinner, we sat on her porch watching a group of kids ride bikes up and down the street. Screen door creaked behind us. Wind rustled through the trees. Felt like something real. She looked over at me and asked, "You open to something more than just this?" I didn't answer right away. I took a sip of tea, watched a kid wipe out and pop right back up. "Let's build it slow," I said. But yes. She smiled without looking at me. Then she said, "You think we'll ever really trust again?" I didn't hesitate. "We already do," I said. "Otherwise we wouldn't be here." She didn't say anything after that. Just leaned her shoulder against mine and watched the sun drop behind the rooftops.